Okay, here's a look at Fanstoys FT-31 Maurader, which is their version of a masterpiece scaled Menasor. So here you could see what the front of the instructions booklet looks like, with a nice sketch of Menasor in the toy version of the toy version. So yeah, you could see in the back has a nice sketch of the Stunticons in alt mode. And just a quick tour here, you could see it's a very nice booklet. And here you could see, if we see it get the glare out, you get Bandit with this set with the two guns, the alternate faceplate, and Menasor's body parts. So that's a look at the instructions. And then he does come with my favorite, the bio card. And this one has the nice sketch of Menasor in the cartoon version, but the toy version. And the back, you get a product image of the Stunticons in their vehicle alt mode. Some people call it the train. And I'm really curious with the stats here. What's a 2 and what's a 3 and a 5 and a 6 and a 10. But anyways, and then of course the bio that's really hard to read unless you pause and read what that says, if you're curious to know what the bio says on the nice bio card, which is my favorite. And now that's complete. So here I just wanted to show you this because this is something that I really like. Now we have all the Stunticon bio cards. So we have Motor Master, Dead End, Wild Rider, Breakdown, Drag Strip, and Menasor. But I'll just point out little things here. The inconsistency here. This is how it started, and then you could see the text up there. They changed the color design and stuff. I mean, it's good if you want to keep them all different, but then, you can also stay consistent too. And that's kind of like the way I am. I like to keep things the same and consistent. But anyways, that's a look at the instructions and the bio card. And then before I zoom in there, you could see here is the gun that he comes with, and the handle has that nice snap locking handle, which is really cool. And then typical Fanstoys, it is nicely sculpted, it is painted. I laugh because that would have been cool if they incorporated some LED light features here, because those lights on his head, they're pretty bright. That would have been cool here. But anyways, here's a look at the gun. And now let's take a closer look at Menasor. So now let's zoom in and take a closer look at all the nicely sculpted detail. You could see the little triangle shape on the tip of the foot. And you could see the detail that they sculpted here for Wild Rider. And when you come to the other side, you could see the sculpted detail for Breakdown. And when you come up, you could see all that nicely sculpted detail for the thighs and the hips. Yeah, there's more I'll share after, but here I'm just giving you a close-up look at all the nicely sculpted detail. And look at that head. And at the head, I do have the light features, but I didn't turn it on. But yeah, you could see, and even look at that shoulder joint. Look at how nicely sculpted that is. And even here, on the white part, that transparent plastic, all the nicely sculpted detail in there, in the arms. Yeah, so here I just wanted to give you a tour of all the nicely sculpted detail, and just let you know that this is not very tune accurate. you know, but that's not a bad thing. You know, hopefully you've seen all my other reviews. I did my best to try to make it clear. My preference obviously is for the tune accuracy, and there are a lot of elements to this that does capture the tune aesthetics, but all the nicely sculpted detail I just showed you does kind of enhance, I guess I'll use that word, the figure, you know, just giving you all this extra nice detail. And so, you know, I also said before, you know, when it comes to aesthetics, there's basically two parts that I'm trying to cover. You know, the tune accuracy, which is my preference, or from, you know, a design aspect, you know, how well did they, you know, put all this detail. You know, like some other companies, they would overly detail too much, and here you could see they didn't. And here I'll just share some things with design with you. So here, as an example, if they do all this nice job sculpting in, you know, the details here, then that means they're gonna have to stay consistent and put all the details on the hips and the thighs and the legs and the feet, just to have everything stay cohesive. Because you can't just have, you know, nice detail here and then all of this is, you know, kind of plain and simple, like the, you know, to capture the tune accuracy. That is not good design. So they did so my point is they did a really nice job choosing to incorporate some nicely sculpted detail and doing it throughout the figure to be very cohesive, and they did not overly detail it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that. So that's always the first thing I cover, is the aesthetics, the two parts, you know, the tune accuracy, which is my preference, but also the aesthetics from a design point of view. And from a design, and like I said, because I have a background in, you know, product design, art and design, or actually it's animation, fine art, then art and design, and then nutrition. I understand it very well. And here I'm just trying to give you a tour as I'm rambling on. But my point is, because of my background, I can appreciate the design aspect, all this nicely sculpted detail, when I'm looking at how they handled it. It's done very well and it looks really nice. But now, let me point out some things that this is for me personally. I kind of wish they would have done something different with just like his whole torso here, the chest, the waist, the hips. Because this obviously is, like I said, it's not very tune accurate, because you could see the nice transparent plastic that has the nice detail inside, and it comes off looking like a very light gray. And then here, these are kind of like silver. For me, personally, I'm telling you, I kind of don't really like that, because it's not very tune accurate. So if you see from the animation model, yeah, they should be really dark. Yeah, and then it's the hip area specifically. The shape here, you know, it should have, I don't know what geometric shape it's called, but you know, it's that kind of like a angled shape. These are these two separate, yeah, the shape is different. So yeah, I'm just pointing out my opinion, that in terms of, you know, the aesthetics. But I said many times, aesthetics, you know, is based on individual preference. So, you know, it's very subjective. But now the other two criteria when I'm doing my critique is the engineering. And here, let's see if I can find a way to carefully do this. The way you saw, hopefully you saw all my transformation videos for this that I took a lot of time to make. they did a nice job with engineering the transformation. I mean, I laugh because I'm trying to find a way not to take up all your time to point out like all aspects of the engineering that I figured out, the way they were able to design all of this to, you know, fold up and stuff. There are a lot of clever things that they did, such as I like the way they locked that bridge piece here by having these tabs, you know, go in and lock it in place. And, you know, I mean, I can go on and on. There's a lot of things that they did really well. And another reason why I'm pointing all of that out is because when I bring out the other versions, X-Transbots, DX9, and that's not to pick on them, they did not do very well with, you know, the engineering, basically. But yeah, in terms of the engineering, they did a really nice job. And then the third category, when, you know, I'm doing the critique on all this, I mean, look at that huge sword, is the form and function. I mean, that is something in design. And, you know, for those people that like to, oh, just Google it. Well, yeah, okay, Google that to know what form and function is in terms of design. And that's, I mean, it covers quite a lot. But in terms of form and function, you could see the overall shape, the size, the proportion, the color. They did a nice job, you know. And the form and function with this specifically, you could see that he stands pretty firmly. I mean, it's still really heavy. You still have to be careful, but there's things that they did with the design to have this work better than X-Transbots and DX9, which is specifically the feet. So in terms of form and function, articulation, you could see his feet does not go up and down. And I don't know for sure, but I just have to assume, I think they did that on purpose to try to solve the problem of this tipping over this way or that way due to the heavy weight. And that is what product design is. You know, it's about identifying problems and coming up with creative solutions to it. So they did a good job solving the problem there. So in terms of form and function, the balance and stability, they did a really nice job. But this is still a really heavy figure. And, you know, people like to try to say DX9's better than X-Transbots by saying the plastic lighter. No, I mean, I'm just going to acknowledge, yes, their figure are lighter because there's no die cast and stuff. But interestingly, I'll just show you here real quick. This figure is still really heavy. So even though they use plastic, no die cast, it's still just as heavy as this. So those DX9 making those comments about that, well, give an answer to that. Because like that's, you know, I'm trying to make my point clear that that's not really a factor to say that DX9 is better than this. That is really just your opinion based on what you like. But anyways, not to ramble on too much. So here you could see what he looks like. And so now let's do this because I get comments of people telling me they like all these comparisons with the animation model that I put on. So here, let's get him set up here so we can compare this with the animation model. And already you already know this is not going to be very tune accurate. I mean, like I said, for the most part, they did do a nice job capturing, you know, aspects of the cartoon, you know, such as, you know, the colors and stuff, but they added their own, you know, extra detail, which looks really nice. And like I was telling you, the whole torso area Yeah, that's the only thing that, you know, I personally don't like. I mean, that's all subjective based on my personal individual preference. But yeah, you know, I kind of would have liked if they would have just kept these areas dark. Maybe like use a darker transparent plastic like on a dead ends window. And then that would have kind of captured the tune aesthetics a little bit more accurately. And then the back, this is pretty surprising. You know, first of all, how well they were able to clean up the back. Cleans up very nice. And yeah, for the most part, it does capture a lot of the aesthetics from the cartoon. But yeah, I always said many times the back doesn't really matter all that much. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on and on, taking up all your precious time like some people commented. But yeah, here is a look at Menasor all combined. So now for some comparisons, I'm going to group these all together just to see if I can try to save some of your precious time. So here you could see what, you know, X-Transbots, Fanstoys, and DX9's version of Menasor look all next to each other. And I'm trying to think of the short way to, you know, just point out the differences. But first, you could see everyone always compares X-Transbots with Fanstoys. And first, you could see both of them, they always do a nice job sculpting the figure, painting the figure. And look at the torso here. They did a better job capturing the toon aesthetics, you know, where I was telling you those details. They are not like this light gray, which is my personal preference, but I can appreciate the, you know, all the nicely sculpted detail because it does look nice. It's just because I prefer the toon aesthetics and this one captures the toon aesthetics a little bit more accurately. I do like the aesthetics here. And again, aesthetics is just, you know, subjective, so it's based on your individual personal preference. So yeah, well, my point is they both always do a nice job capturing the you know, capturing all the details, the cartoon aesthetics, and you know, overall they both look really nice. And DX9 I don't know, maybe you could see the difference between the two. I know a lot of people complain about the chunkiness of this and that. And yes, I'm only going to agree just to acknowledge, yeah, like for example, his lower legs, you could see they're really big and bulky. I mean, even the thickness of it is really thick. But see, with, you know, everything I always point out, I always try to make it clear why, so you can understand. I mean, this is all a part of their engineering, and you know, for the trailer, which I think was done fairly well for the most part, except they didn't control the tolerance with the ratchets and stuff like that. But my point to this is, in terms of aesthetics, I personally like how plain and simple and clean this is. This does kind of capture the toon aesthetics, except for that purple up there. It should just be purple on the waist. And I like those hips. That's what I was telling you. There's a difference. This one is more toon accurate, and so is this one. And this one, yeah, they took the liberty to make some changes. And here, this is what I was telling you, the thighs. Look at the thighs. This thigh is actually more accurate to the cartoon. And again, that's not saying that this is bad because it doesn't capture the toon aesthetics. Hopefully by saying it again and again, I'm making it clear. And then here you could see how X-Transbots handled it. And that's the thing, X-Transbots, they also take the liberty to add in some extra detail, because But now I'm going to speak to some of the negative aspects of the aesthetics with X-Trans bots. And yeah, this sounds like I'm picking on them, but I'm just pointing out the facts. They do not do, both of these look good, but here's the difference. X-Trans bots does not do a very good job cleaning things up. So here you could see like the tabs and the hinges, and then you could see the parting lines from the hinges. You could see the gaps in there, and then here you could see the gaps in there. You could see the slots for the tabs. Look at all the hinges exposed there. So yeah, my main point is that's one of the negative aspects of the aesthetics with X-Trans bots. They do not do a good job cleaning things up. And now when you look at Fanstoys, this is not saying Fanstoys, you know, is better, but you know, they do a nicer job cleaning everything up. I mean, you don't see all those things I just pointed out there with X-Trans bots. So I guess you could say there's another plus with the Fanstoys. And DX9, yeah, they kind of also, I mean, because they're not, you know, elevating their designs to the level of Fanstoys and X-Trans bots. So that's my way to best explain why, you know, you got those holes right there, those teeth from the ratchets exposed, but they still did a nice job keeping things simple. So yeah, here I'll just try to keep it simple there. And now in terms of the engineering, just to keep it short, I mean, you already know X-Trans bots, the issues, always the plastic quality, the complexity of the way they engineered the transformation. And I could tell you, both of these are complicated because they both were trying to overachieve, making them a triple changer, you know, where they kind of turn into that attack base mode or whatever. So that made the designing, the engineering much harder. And you could just see, you know, how X-Trans bots did it and how Fanstoys did it. And one of the major differences, the plastic quality is much better. So this can handle all that manipulation and stuff. As opposed to X-Trans bots, you really need to be careful because you might break things. And also, just the way they engineered things, too many parts, manipulating, twisting, bending, untabbing, sliding, locking pieces and stuff. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. It does not work as well as Fanstoys. And I didn't mention this, but Fanstoys, this actually does even more. And maybe I'll do the transformation to the toy version. So there's an extra mode that neither of these have. So these have the robot mode, you know, capturing the cartoon aesthetics. They have the trailer mode, the train mode, and DX9 just kept it simple like that, and X-Trans bots and Fanstoys, you know, had the attack base mode. But Fanstoys also gave you the alternative toy version. So this actually has more features than the other ones. And you look at how well that this is done in terms of the engineering, the plastic quality, the die cast, how well it cleans up aesthetically, all the details. Yeah, I'm not saying that this is better, but clearly, you know, there's a lot of things that are done, you know, well with this figure that works better than the others. So to keep it simple, yeah, I don't know if I covered the feet, but yeah, that's one of the other things with the design. I already pointed out how smart Fanstoys was to design their feet, and X-Trans bots always trying to do a lot. There's some stability issue here, and then the weight on the back, you know, actually on both of them causes some issues. So I just want to speak to this again. People are saying, you know, about, you know, this being all plastic and lighter and better. Well, this is actually somehow is just as heavy as these two. So again, if you want to make that argument that this is better because it's lighter, well, explain how this is just as heavy as these. So yeah, again, I'm just trying to point all these things out and trying to rebuttal against these comments that I don't think are very smart. I don't know a nice word to say it, but it's people. I'll just say this, you know, if you're gonna make these kind of things in my comments, then why don't you identify yourself? Because I'm only gonna have respect if you're a product designer or if you have some kind of background in art and design. So yeah, if you don't, then maybe you should, you know, kind of, you know, try to be truthful and honest, you know, and say, yes, maybe I don't understand all these things because I don't have that academic education about design. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble and digress. I'm getting very defensive from all the comments I get after doing all the work to, you know, do these reviews. But anyways, here is a look at all three together. And to take up some more of your time, like some people commented on some of my videos, here I just wanted to go over some of the accessories that that all three of these came with. So first I want to start off with the sword. So first you could see how Fanstoys handled the design of their sword. Look at that nice chrome plated finish, which gives it a premium look, and you know, it just makes sense with a premium looking figure. And I always rebuttal back in my reviews, you know, people are commenting, making negative comments about the chrome, but I'll just leave it at that. And then here, hopefully after I explained everything, things will make sense. So here you could see X-Transbot's version of Menasor's sword. So first you could see it's all black. It doesn't have a silver or chrome plated finish, and that's obviously because, you know, these extra parts here so that it can fold up for storage into the trailer doesn't really allow for this to be all nicely painted chrome, but it could have at least been painted silver like you see with DX9. And you could see how DX9 is very simply done. So again, I'm just trying to reiterate everything I already said. And here with X-Transbots, you could see, you know, how it functions as, you know, storage. But to do that, you have all these extra parts. You know, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all these screws. So here, you know, I said many times with product design, and this is actually part of product design, you want to keep things simple, few parts as possible. And look at the way Fanstoys did their sword. So there's one accessory. And then the gun, here is Fanstoys gun. Typical Fanstoys, they do a nice job sculpting the figure, painting the figure. But here, yeah, as people have already pointed out, look at this. That nice snap, clickety snap sound on both sides. So that they didn't have to do that, but that's really cool. And here is X-Transbot's gun that does fold down with the screws exposed there. I mean, this also is nicely sculpted, but like I said, their version doesn't, you know, clean up very well. They both do a nice job sculpting the figure, but yeah, like I said, X-Transbots doesn't clean up very well. So there's a look at that gun. But with DX9, I don't know how to transform this, but they first of all, they gave you this nice feature, which I think is really cool. I'm going to steal it from here and add it to my Fanstoys, because this is, you know, from that episode where Menasor was using this lightning bug, you know, to attack the Autobots. This was really cool. Look at this. This is simply sculpted and detailed with all this nice paint, and they always do put in a little extra, like the transparent yellow there for the eyes. This is, yeah, okay, I don't want to digress. But my main point was they made this so that this converts into the gun. So from a design point of view, that's, you know, this is very creative and fun, because it functions as a feature but also functions as a gun. So here's the difference between all three, and I'm kind of stuck on this because this is actually really, really cool. Now in terms of the accessories, Fanstoys gave you the roller car, which is, you know, nicely sculpted, nicely painted. This one's kept very simple. This one also has multi-functions. These are the parts for the toy version of Menasor. You know, you have his buckle belt thing here, and, you know, you have his chest piece. So that's really cool. And then to go with it, you also need the shoulder pieces for the toy version. And then last, I think maybe I'll come down here so you could see they gave you alternate face plates. This is funny because X-Transbots is known for being very overly generous with all these accessories that really doesn't cost a lot to make, to sculpt and make, but they did give you a really nicely sculpted angry face, you know, but Fanstoys, I don't know if this is like what people say, you know, Fanstoys, you know, is trying to get back at X-Transbots. So they gave you 3 alternative faces for the cartoon version, and then they gave you 2 alternative faces for the toy version. So there, I just wanted to be a little thorough and just go over some of the other accessories. So hopefully everything I said, you know, kind of makes sense with what I was telling you. Both of these are nicely sculpted, even the DX9, but you could see how simple this is, why this is cheaper, because they, you know, I don't want to say smart, but, you know, they just chose to, you know, use silver paint instead of the nice chrome plated finish. And X-Transbots was not able to do that because typical X-Transbots, they try to do too much. They try to have this fold up for storage. I mean, this this storage is kind of weird. It just kind of attaches to the side of the trailer. But anyways, instead of going on and on, here's a look at some of the other accessories that come with the Menasor figures. Okay, here's a close-up of Menasor. So let's zoom in a little closer and take a closer look at the head. And you could see that, first of all, I chose to have the open screaming mouth. And you could see that this is really nicely sculpted. And here, if you want to activate the light features, first, I'm going to make this clear. This is not as simple as lift this tab up, because you could see that if you do that, you're squishing the top of his head that a little bit is in. So this does not work easily. You have to, unfortunately, come to the bottom and untab that. And that's where I was telling you that little box-shaped tab, they should have kind of beveled the bottom edge. So when you put this in, you know, it will just slide in. So again, I'm just making that point clear because this does not work. So here, I'll just do it to show you this way. So if you try to lift this up, you're forcing the damage to the top of his head by lifting this up. You see, you're now putting this force and pressure up here. So is that the easy way to take off the head? And actually it doesn't even take off the head. So first I just wanted to make that clear. But here I just wanted to show you that after you get the batteries installed, I don't know, maybe you have to zoom in to see what number that says. First of all, you have to turn the head to push the bottom down to switch it. Otherwise you're getting shock waves and then you could put it in. And I laugh because the thing I already pointed out that I don't like with this is his whole face lights up. It's pink, so this doesn't really work so well in terms of just lighting up the eyes. His whole face ends up lighting up. But you know, I think that was still a nice attempt to, you know, give you this feature. And I have this feeling the only reason why Fanstoys did that is because X-Transbots and DX9 also gave you a light feature. So yeah, I think that's the reason why they did that. But in terms of articulation, I'll try to go really quick. It can swivel left and right. It can go up a little bit, but it's not meant to go up that way. This is, you know, part of the you know, transformation. And then it also doesn't go down. This is also part of the transformation. So here you can see it can go down a little bit, and but it can't really go up unless you know, lift this piece up. So kind of limited articulation, and I would say it is a little limited because yeah, you might want, if you want to get some dynamic poses and stuff, it is kind of limited. And then here I want to show you, look at those nice die cast shoulder joints. And first of all, you could see that this is done really well. Look at the nice clickety ratchets, and you get ratchets going forward and back. And I just wanted to speak to this to make it clear. You know, people, you know, want to say that this is not good design. Do you know about design? That it doesn't go all the way up? Well, first of all, maybe you need to understand the character design. He is supposed to have these shoulders, right? So obviously his arms are not going to be able to come up if it's designed with these shoulders. And if you have academic background in, you know, art and illustration, you would also know that you can't draw this with this arm up here because this piece is in the way as a part of, you know, just the way the character was designed. And it's also the same thing on this side, but this side's even more because you could see part of the front of the drag strips car is in the way. So my point to it is, you know, saying, you know, it lacks articulation because it can't go up, that does not make sense if you understand all of this. And my point is, when you take all that into consideration, that you should know that this articulation is actually done really well. So yeah, the shoulder joints, they do have good articulation. And then when you come down here, he does have nice bicep swivel on friction. And then here he does have nice clickety ratchets for the elbow. I could say this, well, it doesn't go past 90 degrees. Make an argument, but that doesn't make sense. But you could, again, I just try to always point things out so people understand. So, you know, I don't hear people making comments, yeah, well, ignorant comments like this. I mean, it's not meant to. I mean, you just have to understand it's not meant to. So you have to look at what they did give you. And when you understand all of it, you could see it is a good amount of articulation from that point of view. And then when you come down to the hands, oh man. Okay, first you get some nice clickety ratchets. But yeah, I'm telling you, I don't like the way they designed these hands. X-Transbots, I think, does a better job with designing their hands and fingers. I mean, first of all, in terms of the articulation, they do give you all these nice joints on these pins that are exposed. But my complaint is this right here, this, I forgot what that's called in the anatomy, this muscle. But yeah, you could see the screws are exposed, and here I'm just telling you, if anything, they could have made the two parts instead of the top and bottom. They could have made it the front and back, and then put the screw here so it cleans up better on the top. And then you still can get, you know, the part of the transformation needed for the trailer where this goes through that little cutout opening on the back of the trailer. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you, you know, I don't like the way they designed the hands. This one's just like their Ethereon. And then here the waist. Let's come up here, spread his arms on these really nice ratchets. He does have a waist rotation. It doesn't go all the way around. And first of all, I'm just going to say, why would you even complain that it doesn't go all the way around when, what, I mean, do you see someone turning around 180? And it's, I mean, it's even the same thing with these Van Damme, this, I mean, that's just, yeah, that's just exaggerating articulation. For what reason? I don't know, because you don't need to go that far. But the main thing is it does have some nice ratcheted articulation for waist rotation. And here, let me see if I can lift up the arm and show you. He does have a ab crunch, and it is hard to engage. And I'm coming on this side because this is where the teeth are. And with all Fanstoys, because of the tight friction, you could see the teeth. So you do get this much ab crunch, and you could see it's already coming off, and that kind of justifies or validates what I was telling you, that this design in terms of connecting the upper and lower part of Menasor's body is not good enough to support this, especially with the tight tolerance Fanstoys figures that require you to apply force to, you know, get these things tabbed in or untabbing. So, you know, you have to apply force to engage that ab crunch. You have to apply a lot of force because of the tight tolerance, but as a consequence, that stress I was telling you, it's going to shift over to other areas. That's what causes this to come out. And that's why I was telling you, this design is not done very well. Just two tabs here and two locking tabs. I'll just speak to this. I think they should have done something like this one, you know, where you they have that connecting bridge, and then this kind of locks over. That really secures it to so that, you know, it stays in place. But anyways, since that happened, I, you know, thought I'd point that out. And then let's see if I can do this safely. So we can bring down his arm here, spread it out. And then he does have hip skirts, you know, all around, front and back. And that is so that you can lift these legs up also on a nice ratchet. And you could see, yeah, here's one of the things that was not designed very well. A lot of people, that's a, you know, no-brainer that this one wasn't designed very well. But the legs on the nice ratchet can go forward and back and out to the side, also on nice ratchets. And let me stabilize him first, and then we can come down here to the knees. And the knees, you know, has that well, this is on friction, so, or part of it, it's a double jointed knee. So the upper part is ratcheted, but this lower part is actually, I think I am mistaken if I'm not correct. Yep, just like I thought, these two locking tabs came untabbed. So yeah, he does have ratcheted knee joints. It's just because of the tight tolerance, it is hard to engage. but it's nice that they gave you nice ratchets. And then the feet, yeah, they don't, first of all, these are these locking pieces. You could see these feet don't really go down. I mean, it is kind of going down because a little bit, but it's not meant to. But you do get nice ankle rocker, so you can get him at an A stance. And I already pointed this out, that this was actually a very smart decision to have the feet not go up and down, because that prevents Menasor from tipping over backwards or forward like with X-Transbots or DX9. So I think Fanstoys is doing what a lot of designers do, is you learn from other people's mistakes, because the whole point in product design is, you know, identifying and solving problems. Well, first thing is, you know, you have to try to identify a need, and then you have to do all the research to figure out, you know, all the problems, and then try to come up with creative solutions to problems. And part of doing that is looking at what other people did, and like X-Transbots and DX9, and then you fix it. But anyways, all that just to show you, this does have a good amount of articulation that's done really well. The shoulder joints, you know, have ratchets going up and down and going forward and back. The head is really limited in articulation. The hands are nicely articulated. It's just aesthetically, I don't like the way that looks. It's nice they gave you ratcheted waist rotation. They gave you ab crunch that you saw has teeth on this side, but it's tight tolerance, so it's hard to engage that. I'll come back to that in a second. And then you get the nice ratchets on the upper thighs. There, I didn't say, but you have the friction, thigh rotation. You have the ratcheted knees. And then you have the ankle rocker, but no up and down, which is a smart design to try to keep this heavy figure stable, so that he's not tipping over forward or back like X-Transbots or DX9. So yeah, and then I was telling you here some more smart things Fanstoys did is they made the upper and lower part two separate parts. So the way I engaged this off camera was I actually took off the top part, and then I did the rotation and then the ab crunch and then put him back. So that's a safe way to, you know, get the nice dynamic poses that you want, that uses the ab crunch and waist rotation. So anyways, that's a long explanation of, you know, all the nice articulation with Fanstoys Menasor. And for some more comparisons, here is a look at Fanstoys Maurader, aka Menasor, next to their Etherion, aka Superion. So now let's just zoom in and take a closer look. It's kind of hard to capture both of these guys on camera, but yeah, you could see what it looks like. And I tried to do my best to, you know, get a nice dynamic pose out of both of them. They're not really facing each other, and just letting you know, this is what I call a versus. Cause yeah, you know, comparing them with the Menasor, with the other versions, X-Transbots, DX9, I don't consider that versus. That's more comparison. But anyways, this is your versus. So here you could see what this looks like. I'm trying to see what other angles I can give you here to give you a nice group shot. They scale pretty well next to each other. I think Menasor is maybe a little bit taller. I think Superion should be maybe taller because they're planes and these are cars. But yeah, And just for the heck of it, just close-up view of Superion. This also is a really nice figure. The nice signature gun, and this one also has the same designs of the hands that I don't think aesthetically looks very pleasing, but yeah, you could see what this looks like. So here's a look at Fanstoys Menasor next to Fanstoys Superion. So to try and keep my review short, I'm going to end my review here. And unfortunately, I was not able to show you how to convert Menasor from the toon version to the toy version, but you know, that's why you have your popular favorite YouTubers out there with 20, 30,000 subscribers, you know, who will show you how to do that. But I will give you my strong recommendation on how to do that very competently, and that is to carefully and safely disengage the upper and lower half of Menasor. And I'm showing you this because you saw when I engaged the ab crunch how that stress caused tension to come up here to unlock these hooking tabs. So maybe that's a easy way to get it out. But my main point is, if you wanted to change it to the toy version, you know, you want to do things the safe way by just separating the top and lower half so that you can remove Wild Rider and Breakdown safely, and then move the lower legs back so that you could bring Wild Rider and Breakdown and attach them to the front. You have to open up these pieces. But if you wanted me to do a review just showing you how to quickly do that, just let me know in the comments. And you know, if there's a lot of comments requesting it, I'll do it, because if not, I'm absolutely not going to make that video, because if you know me, I'm very much about the toon accuracy, the toon aesthetics, and this is the mode I'm planning to keep Menasor in, because yeah, even though it does have, you know, these details here that are, you know, kind of light gray because of the transparent color, and here also I still like the way it looks overall. And this is my Menasor for my masterpiece collection. And as far as these two go, I think I've already said it. X-Transbots, I'm now going to have to transform this again back to the trailer, because I told you with X-Transbots, it's pretty much all of their figures, they look best in their alt mode. So I'm going to transform these into their alt mode and have them stay in my masterpiece collection as alt mode. And as far as DX9 goes, I finally figured out where this goes. This goes perfectly next to the Zeta Superion, which I wanted to show you, but yeah, time is I'm wasting people's precious time, like someone commented. But anyways, that's it. I'm going to end my review here and just tell you that overall, this is a really amazing figure. I'm really surprised how well they were able to engineer it, considering that it's basically a quadruple changer. You know, the trailer, the base mode, the train mode, and the toy version mode. So and then all the articulation and stuff, the ratchets that X-Transbots didn't give you. It's relying a lot on friction, interestingly, because most of Fanstoys, they're relying on the friction, but they were being very smart here, ratcheted, you know, all the articulation. But anyways, I'm rambling. My main point, this is an awesome figure, and if you got, you know, obviously if you got Wild Rider, Breakdown, Dragship, Motormaster, you want to get that, the last one to form this, even though this is really expensive. And you know, I'll acknowledge that. I mean, it's unfortunate that Fanstoys charges so much, but it is a really nice figure, so you just have to kind of weigh the benefit and the cost of that. But for me, now that I have it, it's all complete. I'm very happy. I'm satisfied with this figure. And so I don't give recommendations, because if you want it, you'll get it. If you don't, you won't. And, you know, I don't do all that rating and stuff. But here I will give this a rating of a 9 out of 10. And that's considering everything all together. Amazing figure by Fanstoys. Really happy to get it. Now just looking forward to all their other figures coming out. The Blitzwing and you know, Ironhide, Ratchet, Optimus, the Technobots. Okay, stop babbling. So that's it. That's my final thoughts and review. It's an awesome figure.
Unite!